This is The Post Up with DJ Trice. I'm running my mouth on everything hot in sports, news, drama, and whatever is blowing up the timeline. Let's get into it. Welcome back to another episode of The Post Up. I go by the name of DJ Trice, and I'm always posted up right here running my mouth about sports. Y'all, today I am talking everything Angel Reese, okay? And I am coming from the vantage point of somebody from Chicago today. I am not talking about the LA Sparks like I normally am. I am not leaning into that toxic positivity. I'm going to just be very real, like the lady from Chicago I am, about the Chicago Sky and Angel Reese and this whole situation. I'm also going to recap it a little bit for you, so in case you missed it, there's been a whole lot that's been going on. The whole premise of my conversation today is going to be Angel Reese deserves better. The Chicago Sky are going to lose yet another star player because they are running that organization like a pickup team. They're running it like a sign-up list. They're just doing what they want to do, or there's no 360 benefits in it. A lot of people are complaining about the training facility, how the athletes are treated, and there have been so many stars that have spoke out after saying they would never come back to Chicago. So it's not even like Angel Reese is the first person to complain about this. It's not something that's known around the WNBA world. And for players to go out of their way at the end of a term to say that they are never coming back is, something to say. Because Chicago's a great place. I grew up there. I'm not, saying that the city should be the number one selling point, but it's an awesome sports market. There's a lot to do there. There's a bunch of reasons that stars like Angel Reese will want to be there because, she's in the modeling thing. She's running a business, huge international airport, one of the largest cities in America. So the access is just there. And it's crazy that there are so many star players that go there and they just can't keep nobody who's a star. It's just every single year seems like a rebuild since the championship year. So let's just go through and talk about what actually happened with this Angel Reese situation. Angel Reese made some comments in the Chicago Sun-Times about the Chicago Sky organization. She was very clear in her statements that she was talking about the Chicago Sky organization and how they needed to just step up. They needed to do better. With the player treatment that I was talking about, but also with, planning and player management and building a team around your superstar. Why do you have me here if you don't have a plan for a point guard? I feel her on that. She didn't say nothing wrong because having Courtney Vandersloot as your number one option is cool. Sloot is a baller. She just won a championship last year, but she's older. So you need a solid backup plan. You know what I mean? You need somebody who can come off the bench who's a solid point guard and be the next person in charge who's floor general, right? You can't put all your eggs in the Courtney Vandersloot basket. She tore her ACL early in the season, out for the season. At this point, in my opinion, the Chicago Sky should have then started figuring out how they can move players around to find a serious point guard backup, but they did not do that. What they did was just rely on the existing players and move like Ariel Atkins to the one, Rachel Banham to the one. They just been kind of moving around. But what Angel Reese was saying was, it's like, you keep hanging your hat. How are we supposed to win? What is the overall goal? What is the overall plan? And her teammates took it some kind of way. Basically, they felt like she was allegedly here, because we don't exactly know how all these people felt, but from the comments that they made on social media, it seemed like they took the comments as they were subpar players. They weren't good enough to get the job done, and she wasn't being a good teammate by saying these things. So the Chicago Sky organization decides to suspend Angel Reese for a half a game. That makes no sense in sports, y'all. That is for those of y'all who are unfamiliar with how punishments and sanctions are usually handed out. A suspension for half of a game for your best player on your team is crazy. So you basically want her to sit out all halftime as punishment and then come back energized and rejuvenated after and play the second half. That's crazy. As a professional, that's crazy. It's a slap in the face. It basically was a sanction that was there to humiliate her. It makes no sense if you actually want to win, if you actually are intending on creating a winning culture and having to buy in and doing all these things that you're saying. But so, of course, Angel Reese didn't sit. She sat the second half of the game, said she had a back injury. And then every game since then, she has not been available. The head coach, Tyler Marsh, has been on TV talking about the expectation when she was going to play tonight. She was going to play tonight. She was going to play tonight. And Angel Reese has been just sitting there in her gorgeous outfits and her sunglasses, chewing her gum, and her lip gloss is popping. And I don't blame her. Again, coming from the vantage point of somebody who's from Chicago, we would never want nobody to go back and do some goofy stuff like play for a team that just did something that was so vile. Based off the fact that you calling them out, they don't have good practice. They don't have a dedicated practice facility. They didn't have a plan for the point guard. They haven't surrounded her with talent that would make her successful. You got this head coach that's a first-year head coach, and I'm not saying I have anything against Tyler Marsh. Had a lot of great success with the Aces organization under Becky Hammond, but it ain't panning out how you thought it was going to pan out. And again, this is her second year. She is a star. She is continuing to get better. She is a stat leader. She is doing her part. Yet you are here complaining about anything that she has to say about winning. One could beg that the Chicago Sky don't intend to win. Why would you draft an Angel Reese if you're not going to use her to the maximum potential and put her with other players around her that can make her successful? I can tell you why. Because she's going to put people in the arena. She's going to sell merch. She's going to do all that. She went from the Bayou Barbie to the Skytown Barbie, okay? Her brand had grown so big at LSU under Kim Mulkey with the championship and the Caitlin Clark rivalry and all the things that people have gotten excited about in the past couple years. And the Chicago Sky need to deliver something in order to keep their star player. It's just crazy to me. Steph Curry wouldn't have got suspended for no half a game. Fined. Okay. You know, dealt with in the locker room. All right. But it just seems crazy. And the GM of the Chicago Sky just came out and said that he expects that Angel Reese is coming back. It was people in the arena on the final game for the Chicago Sky who was there saying, farewell, Angel. They were clapping. There was a roar of applause saying, see you later. Because even the people in Chicago know that it would be crazy for her to come back to this place. Highly unlikely. Why would she come back to the Chicago Sky? I don't care how many years is left on her rookie contract. She's going to end up with the Dallas Wings. I think that's where she's going to end up. I think the Dallas Wings are going to move whoever they need to move. Because the Dallas Wings with Angel Reese, Paige Beckers, Isaiah James has been playing well. Like, Maddie Segrist is looking good. You built that young core. Kurt Miller, the GM there. That's looking a lot like the Connecticut team that he built before that was a championship dynasty. So, you know, it's just crazy to me that that the Chicago Sky are going to fumble her. Kalia Copper said the same thing for reference, y'all. Candace Parker said the same thing. There have been so many players that have spoken out about how terrible it is at the Chicago Sky organization. Because the city of Chicago ain't bad. I'm telling you, it's a great sports city. It's a great place to chill, especially in the summertime when the WNBA season is there. They ain't got to deal with the snow. No snow, little rain. The weather is very nice usually that time. So anyway, she gets suspended. And then also, she's got a lot of technical fouls this season. So she got a max for technicals and actually got suspended for one game. So that would just cut down another game for her working. This is basically the part that she's at, or she was at, because the season is over now, is she basically was using up her PTO before she quit her job. You know how you about to leave your job and you like, well, I'm going to just go ahead and take that vacation. I'm going to do that one thing that I did and I ain't going to finish that project. That's basically what she did. And it's crazy because the bench was distant, all the things. And it's like, why are y'all hurt? Y'all should be just as mad because y'all losing and y'all organization is doing nothing about trying to help put y'all in a better position. Training wise, you ain't getting no better. Ain't nobody getting no better. You just losing. Who want to come to work every day and do that? As Angel Reese, girl, I wouldn't be doing that either. So her back injury kept her off of the last 3 games, but we all know what was really happening. And that's why those Chicago fans came out and said goodbye. I know they sad about it because, again, she's a fan favorite. A lot of little girls look up to her. Her brand is huge. She's amassed a huge fan base, not only in Chicago, but just in the nation, just with what she's been doing. And she's balling. It would be different if she was trash. She's balling. So, hate to see her go. She also skipped her exit interview. Teeing up one of my next episodes. The next episode will have all the Sparks exit interviews, the questions that I asked, and I got a really good one with KP. So imagine that. We missed the playoffs, just like the Chicago Sky did, but all our players came to the thing, except for Cameron Brink, who was injured. But she didn't even come to that. That's not a small thing. That means she didn't even want to say bye to the media, be asked any questions about next year. A lot of the cumulative questions asked about the season. Hey, what are your highs, your lows? She didn't want to answer no questions. She don't care no more. She out of there. And we don't blame her. As a woman from Chicago, girl, stand on your business. It's already about to be a lockout. The CBA can't agree on nothing. I wouldn't be over there wrestling and arguing with them Chicago Sky people anyway. I wouldn't. So that's just the reality. All the fans were also chanting, sell the team. The fans were also showing up with shirts that said free Angel. The GM said, chapter closed. We expect her to stay. He expect to be forgiven. The privilege. I mean, really. They also were chanting, sell the team, fire Jeff. Angel Reese had averaged 14.7 points per game this season, 12.6 rebounds. League leader in double-doubles. She had 23 double-doubles in 30 games. She was injured. She balled out. She did her thing. She was very, very productive. And the Chicago Sky were 10-34. I know what it's like to be 10-34. It's crazy. Very frustrating. So I could only imagine where it's like your team ain't want to even hear what you're saying. Courtney Vandersloot has she left one also, but she's back, and she's back team them, of course, because they're going to keep her on as she rehabilitates. She said she coming back next year, which is cool, Sloot. She never said you was bad. She just said we need an option just in case, which is very understandable because you just tore your ACL. Kalia Copper, like I said, Candace Parker, all of them were gone. So I don't know what the Chicago Sky are going to look like next year. I don't think the GM cares. I was listening to the Kev on Stage podcast, and evidently this dude ain't never even played basketball. He just out here living in a simulation. I want to be as rich as that man. I'd love to just have teams and own teams and just do GM things and acquire players and fumble them and move on, and all of the capital that he had then, because they was bad before to get those picks. You got Cardoza and Reese back to back, 2 great picks, Twin Towers, and it's like whatever. But like I said, I am 100% team Angel Reese. She deserves better. She deserves to get out of Chicago. Free Angel Reese. Let me know your thoughts in the comments on if Angel Reese should stay with Chicago or if she should go. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of The Post Up. I go by the name of DJ Tricey Trice. Make sure you follow me on all social platforms. That's at DJ TRICEY. I will see y'all next episode where I will be posted up right here running my mouth about sports. All right, that's a wrap on The Post Up. I ran my mouth, said what I said, and now it's your turn. Drop a comment, share it, and come back tomorrow, because I'm not done talking. And make sure you follow me on social media at DJ Tricey Trice. That's at DJ TRICEY. I'll be posted up here, y'all.